Well, hi, everybody. Welcome to our Impactoverse speed date. We're going to talk about a kind of an overview of Web3 marketing for companies that are working in climate tech and climate, making the planet a better place, improving climate on the planet, environmental concerns, ocean plastic, things like that. So what we will talk about today is applicable to that whole broad range of topics. My name is Kala Philo. I am the co-founder of Impactoverse, and our CEO, Nolene Moriapin. She's out of the office today, so I'm flying solo in this speed date. But if you have any questions for either one of us at any time, we are available on LinkedIn. And there's also some contact information in the slides. So speaking of slides, I'll get to those in just a second. But Impactoverse is a impact ecosystem, and it's also an NFT platform that we help brands and causes and creators and the whole ecosystem of stakeholders around impact find each other and collaborate to scale results. That's our wider vision. I'm coming to you today from Mexico, where I currently have my permanent residency here, and I live here most of the year. And we just came out of our third pretty severe heat wave. And it was a little toasty down here. And I still have family in Texas, where I grew up, and they are suffering under triple-digit heat, although Texas has more air conditioning than Mexico. So it's a little bit of a balance, right? But both of those, kind of, it's unhappy news, of course, that the planet's heating up, but it's a wake-up call from Mother Nature. And the opportunity for brands is that more and more people are going to be personally affected, and that is the fastest way to get folks' attention around these issues. So that's another reason that we're starting a whole series of content and outreach to climate organizations, companies, nonprofits that are working to save the planet, basically, in this very touchy time that we find ourselves. We are optimists, though, in that the tools of Web3 are going to be instrumental in scaling impact, which means speeding it up and having a greater impact in a shorter amount of time, which is what the planet needs. Okay, all right. So that's a broad intro. Let's get into the slides now. I'm going to share my screen. Let's see, and go there, share. Okay. So once again, welcome to the Web3 marketing update for climate impact brands from Impactoverse. This is part of our Impact Speed Date series, 20 minutes, no snooze zone. Get in, get out, ask questions, and we're done. And obviously you can always follow up later if there's other questions that you have. Again, I'm Kala Philo, co-founder of Impactoverse, Nolene Moriapin, our founder and fearless leader. Both of us are longtime impact entrepreneurs. You can learn more about us on LinkedIn. I don't want to take our time today going through our bio. So we got street cred, though, in this space, I'll tell you. All right, so let's just dive right in. So McKinsey Consulting is a blue chip, very well-regarded consulting firm, management consulting. And in April of this year, they listed the elements brands need to engage and increase Gen Z loyalty. Now, I part ways a little bit with McKinsey in that it's our loyalties are really more based in our values, and you can't say that all Gen Z has the same values, but I get what they're getting at, and it's a starting place, right? So even if your target audience is not Gen Z, there is overlap with the information because values matter more than demographics, and I'll touch on that in just a little bit as well. So what today's conscious consumer is looking for is in brands is a rewarding loyalty program. They want access to exclusive community and the importance of flex. Now, for that generation, flex means, how are you showing up on social media? How are you showing up to your tribe? So if they can access something that their friends can't necessarily easily get, that's something that is attractive to them. And that makes sense, right? Even without social media and the internet, that's just kind of a human trait. We like to show off a little bit. So gamification or adding elements of games like rewards and points of things is really effective. And then a platform to share their passion and grow like-minded community. So TikTok does this on a big scale. The Impactoverse platform does it for impact-oriented individuals as well, and companies and causes. And then this, I love McKinsey for this. They also, obviously, because for this audience and for what I'm about and what Impactoverse is about, an ESG proposition. So partnering with a cause or an influencer on an exclusive clout generating collab. Now, if you are a B Corp, you're not a nonprofit, right? So you don't necessarily need to be partnering with nonprofits, but if there's synergy, there are some creative ways of looking at it. The bigger point here is that you have that vector of doing good for the planet, and that is extremely attractive to the public right now for some other reasons we'll look at as well right here. So these are all research-backed points. They're not things that I just wish was true. They're actually true. I've done the research. You can contact me for more information later, and I'll give you some links later as well. But consumers want to know where brands stand on social and environmental issues. The most recent studies are showing that. They don't trust government or institutions. There is a trust void in the marketplace and in the public. I think we can all see and feel that. They already feel like they have relationships with brands, which is interesting. And I think that's a product of social media, having curated, more personalized relationships with your audience, right? And then brands with shared values build trust, and that fills the trust void. And you can again see that on TikTok creator brands. So what about that statistic that consumers want to know where you stand? So 50 to 70% of consumers factor in a brand stance on social or environmental issues when making purchases, and they're looking for authentic connections. 62% already feel like they have a relationship with a brand already. That's a pretty big opportunity. And these sources are from, the top one is from Deloitte, and that's actually a pre-pandemic statistic. So you can imagine now it's even higher. So the formula is shared values, build emotional connection. Emotional connection equals brand loyalty, which adds up to higher consumer lifetime value for brands. And higher consumer lifetime value equals higher long-term ROI. And again, cause marketing, meaning that your messaging is connected to a larger vision, something helpful for the planet, which all companies around climate change have. It's the most powerful way to build emotional connection, trust, and loyalty. So you guys are in a really, actually good position these days. Here are just a little bit of an overview of the opportunity for trust-based brands and cause collabs. Again, values matter. They build trust. You have connection based on loyalty. Motista had some interesting statistics around customers with emotional connection. The response is much higher than those that don't have that. Makes sense. Transparency and community, leveraging new opportunities with Web3 tools. Brands can increase transparency, build community, and reclaim direct access to fans. So we're going to go over a little bit about NFTs, which are one of the Web3 tools, in just a few minutes. And it's more than just ape art. All right, so what's coming up next? So social media 2.0 models are really struggling, except for TikTok. And the key is to own your audience and give them a platform to act out their values. Future proofing, you want to attract and scale a more focused fan base with higher loyalty and engagement. And the tools, there's some new tools we can use now, NFTs and tokens. And I'll show you some examples in a little bit of how to scale outside of the current social platforms. Cause marketing strategies are the opportunity of the moment for brands, which is great for the audience for this video because you all have cause marketing baked into your marketing. Okay, so when you give people a chance to live their values, you create an extremely powerful emotional tie. So Donald Trump's followers are a stark, if controversial, example, and not just in NFT drops, which we were going to talk about his NFT drop in a little bit. You can also, I highly recommend David Allison's value graphics. Look him up on LinkedIn. He has a large database around this idea. It's more than an idea, around the the proof now that we humans group ourselves actually together more based on values than we do on demographics. It's fascinating and super useful too. Okay, so let's talk about NFTs. Now, NFTs are tools. Marketing is a strategy. It's like your email list is a tool, your CRM is a tool, marketing is a strategy. If you focus on your strategy, you got this, because the pillars of marketing haven't changed, because it's a reflection of how people think, and and we haven't changed that much. Our tools have been changing. So if you want a more deep dive into the data that I just presented, more of the research that I have done and that we've gone through, is you can check out our impact speed date on YouTube at Impactoverse 5049. That's our handle on YouTube. Just Google Impactoverse on YouTube, and we got all of our speed dates there. And this is the one that will help you learn more about the why consumers are driving basically the next evolution of capitalism. So NFTs will revolutionize how anyone building an online following interacts with their audience. Brands, causes, creators, influencers, celebs, politicos. Sometimes, because I live in Mexico, I speak Spanish a lot. I want to say things like politicos, but it's politicos, right? Okay. So how do we know this? Well, full disclosure, to be honest, for the last year, we've been connecting dots, data research to make educated guesses about the coming tidal wave of mainstream adoption of NFTs. And then Amazon announced they were going to launch a digital marketplace. Now, that has apparently been delayed. I can't, even on the internet where there's no secrets, I can't find out why. And I don't have any backdoor to Amazon. So I have some guesses around it, but if you have any questions around that, let me know. I don't want to get to it right now, but it is something that I believe is coming. And the fact that they were even letting some information out about it at all is quite a approval for the idea of NFTs from the biggest retailer for the mainstream that exists. So even bigger than Walmart. So I think that's a pretty good vote in the direction that NFTs have a utility in the marketplace. As far as we're concerned with marketing and scaling beneficial impact for causes and the planet and other causes, Web3 tools are offering new ways to build trust with owned audiences. So there's I'm a blog writer as well, marketer, writer. And so you can check out this post on Impactoverse has our blog on Medium, and I curate and write most of it. It's Marketing's Evolving Landscape, Web 2 to 3 Marketing Primer for brands and agencies. That's there. So let's talk about what is an NFT, and we're not going to get all super technical because it's kind of like, my phone. I know what a smartphone is, but I don't have to know how it works. All the insides. So same thing with NFTs. So an NFT is a piece of code registered on a blockchain that describes a unique asset. And the information usually includes the owner or the creator of that asset, and it's unique. And so that's what makes it an NFT, is it's only one of that specific NFT. So this is the actual NFT code, nothing very scary. So the NFT represents an asset. It's not the actual asset itself. So we talk about art NFTs and they're used interchangeably, but to be 100% correct, the NFT is a piece of code on the website. It's kind of like a ownership certificate in some ways, if you're talking about collectible NFTs. And the artwork itself is separate. So this is an NFT image that the image itself is the artwork, and the NFT piece of code lives on the blockchain. Again, NFT is not the asset itself. Here's the asset. Here is the NFT code. But the other thing to remember about NFTs is they're unique. There's only one of each kind. So it's not like money where, all pennies look the same, right? It's like a title to real estate or a title to a car. It's unique. So these assets could be honestly almost anything. You could create an NFT, which is a piece of code for almost any asset: artwork, real estate, real or digital, clothing, real or digital, car titles, IDs, diploma certificates, music, unique rewards, tickets to access to experiences. Your marketing brain could really just kind of blow up when you start to think about the potential for NFTs. So those are all what are called NFT use cases. You'll see that used out in the marketplace. You haven't yet, you'll see that term. They're example of NFT use cases. So how are marketers using NFTs for the mainstream audience? To attract and engage, to siphon fans off of social media platforms and into owned audiences. I mean, if you think about it, brands spend all this time and money creating content, posting on social. They don't own the audience. Your account can get shut down at any time, and that does happen. It's not a really great deal for brands. So the game is to start to siphon off your very best fans from those social media platforms into owned audiences. And email marketing is an analogy and a bridge for that. Then you can scale richer and truly one-of-a-kind experiences to build brand loyalty, because again, NFTs are one of a kind. So depending upon, and I'll show you in one of the examples, a really incredible one-of-a-kind NFT that did very well. Okay, inexpensively monetized creative IP, especially for climate and sustainability brands. The carbon footprint of your swag is something you have to keep track of, right? I've been watching the World Wildlife Fund for years, kind of shocked at the stuff that they'll send out. I mean, no shade to them, I understand why they do it, but that we're moving away from that. Today's more sustainability minded consumer and supporter doesn't want all that stuff anymore. So NFTs are a way to do away with the carbon footprint of swag. And the NFT itself is much more low impact on the environment than they were even a couple of years ago, because the way that the transaction was changed dramatically into a much more energy efficient process. If you have more questions about that, let me know. But that is something that the crypto community realized was the issue, and they did fix that. Okay, specifically the Ethereum blockchain. All right, strategy tips for successful NFT marketing campaigns. So remember the McKinsey study? So they weren't writing about NFT marketing, but an NFT marketing campaign checks off a lot of the boxes that they were talking about that a younger or a more conscious audience might be looking for. So let's look at a couple of successful NFT campaigns that their tips apply to an NFT curious generation as well. So here's the first one. In May 2021, Neura Health sold its one of one NFT, just one, saved thousands of lives. It was valued at $4.4 million at the time. That number is now approximately $2,600. And so this leads me to my next point. Given that the crypto markets are still really up and down, you want to use a platform that accepts credit cards. Now, in this case, I don't think that somebody could have charged $4.4 million on their credit card, but in general, if you don't, most of us are not going to have NFTs that are at that level of value. You're going to be selling a lot more at a smaller amount. So you want to use a platform that accepts credit cards, that is user-friendly. You want to decouple cryptocurrency from the mainstream NFT purchasing experience. We are seeing that happening already. I reference a study later where they talk about that is what consumers want. Even people who have crypto wallets often will still opt just to use their credit card out of convenience. And if your audience does not have crypto wallets, which most mainstream folks still don't, it introduces huge friction in the sales process for first-time buyers. I have seen high-profile NFT campaigns tank, and I believe that the reason why is because they sent all their people directly to an exchange, and the first thing that you're supposed to do is open a crypto wallet. Huge bounce rate is my guess. Okay, so I debated with myself about using Donald Trump as an example, quite honestly, for a lot of the audience that I know that we serve. But what I want to do is show you that this is really effective. that, for lack of a better word, the other side is using this, and it's something that we as well, if you sit on, if you're not aligned with his followers and what they believe, you're more aligned over here, then it's something that we all need to be on top of, and it gets people's attention. And quite honestly, it was really well done from a marketing standpoint. So let's learn from that and co-opt it for our causes and our progress. Apart from Donald Trump, so NBA Top Shop is kind of the poster child for really profitable NFT progress at $1 billion in sales, even amid a market downturn in 2022. So Donald Trump, his Trump trading cards were not overtly about a campaign or political. They were more about the values that he and his followers espouse. And it was a sold out first Trump trading card drop. And you could not think of a more mainstream audience, honestly, than his followers. So they knew what they were doing. And the first thing you want to think about is meet your people where they are. Trump's team knew they were not launching to crypto native NFT insiders, and their sales stats proved them right. 70% of the sales were to first-time NFT buyers. So instead of trying to sell NFTs, I think he only uses the word NFT in the video for the campaign one time. He talks about baseball trading cards and sweepstakes. So he talks about his Trump trading cards and sweepstakes. He doesn't really talk about this is an NFT and trying to educate people what that is. And the other things that help the campaign performance: a polarizing project video, love or hate it, it's pure Trump, and that's the point. It's very effective in firing up his followers and making those that don't follow him just go, oh, how can this be, right? Familiar look and feel for the user experience. The campaign itself was very kind of not techie at all, had kind of an old school look to the graphics. They weren't that fancy at all. Use of traditional sweepstakes again. They used very simple language on the landing page, very simple directions. It was well done. And then they emphasize repeatedly community. You'll be part of my community. This will give you access to my community. So they know that the value for most of the people in the NFT was not the image necessarily. It was the access to his community and to him that he was going to, the NFTs granted. So I've done a blog post on this with a much more detailed kind of deconstruct of his campaign. So you can check that out. I'm a featured blogger for Zen Ledger. And if you go to zenledger.io and you go to the blog search bar, you just either Google Trump or my name, it will come up. All right, here's one that's a little closer to home, NFT Moss Earth. So this company actually, their first kind of product is a coin that is a carbon offset coin, and they've done very well with that. It's a digital token, digital asset token. Now they've purchased plots of actual Amazon rainforest, and they have a plan around creating a buffer so that the specific area cannot be deforested. You can read more about it, of course, at their website. But the thing that's really fascinating about this is their first drop of the NFTs sold out in about 2 hours and made over $100,000. And I think that the starting price for a piece of the Amazon was around $3,000. It depends on what Ether was at the time. Don't quote me on that. The bigger point is, this is like NFT value on steroids, because now you can be sitting anywhere in the world and you can own a piece of the Amazon, and not only that, be a part of this bigger project. And it's very powerful if you really think about it. So check that out. So World Wildlife Fund. When I was first doing research a couple years ago, they had a little bit of a misstep because they got into NFTs pretty early, and it was while there was a lot of questions swirling around the carbon footprint and the energy usage of Bitcoin in particular, but then that also spilled over onto NFTs. And so they withdrew those first NFTs, and I was understood why, but I was a little sad to see it because I admired them for stepping out. Now it's cool because they're back and they're collaborating with Polygon, which is a large blockchain that actually Impactoverse is built on. And it's a interesting hybrid immersive experience. So you buy NFTs and those are added to others' NFTs, and in the process, though, you're actually removing plastic from the real ocean. So if you're a creative marketer, I'm hoping this is kind of getting you activated, because I was one. I'm like, that's so creative and so interesting, and for me, the virtual world doesn't do anything unless we are, benefiting the real world. So for me, like the metaverse, great, but for now, it's got to have some benefit in the real world, because the real world needs a lot of help. So this is a quote from Polygon's information on the trash NFTs. I personally don't know if I would have said trash NFTs. I think the copy is a little odd, but that's my opinion. All right. Another place so Impactoverse also, we kind of walk our own talk, and we've come up with something called Pet Drops. It's a super campaign that's, so Pet Drops is a brand that people can upload their NFT of their pets, or their followers can upload NFTs of their pets, and the sales of those NFTs benefit a cause. Now we have one kind of super campaign thread that benefits animal welfare organizations. Makes sense, right? So for this audience, it would be Pets for the Planet. And the genius behind this, and this was Nolene's brainchild, quite honestly, is that pets are extremely relatable, and it's something that people feel you can really activate your audience emotionally around a touch point that means a lot to them, their pets, right? And if somebody could memorialize their pet on a blockchain, forevermore, and also help out a cause that's near and dear to their heart. So you have pet owners and people that care about the planet, or whoever your audience is. It's kind of like, it doesn't matter who your audience is, you probably have a large share of folks in there that like pets, have pets. So Pet Drops is a not quite turnkey, but we have some branding around it. We have it's called Campaign in a Box, with some emails to get you started, email strategy. So if you're interested in an easy way to dip your toe in the NFT marketing world, Pet Drops might be a good collab for you, and feel free to reach out to Nolene or I about that. Our marketplace is a user-friendly interface. It saves you costs on building out your own platform. You can issue rewards. We track your impact, because that's part of the deal to be on Impactoverse, is we require that people track impact and report. And also you can engage your audience, and you easily collab with other stakeholders on the growing platform. That's why we call it ecosystem. So if you're not quite ready to dive into all that, we do have some other resources. Free strategy call if you just want to brainstorm for 15, 20 minutes with either myself or Nolene, or we have put together some trainings that you can ask us about as well. And I don't want to take a lot of time talking about these, but just know that we have partnered with some experts in different areas to bring you these trainings. And we are all people who are like you. We're in the trenches, building businesses, working every single day to make something happen. So this is the furthest thing from an academic exercise that I can think of. Oh, sorry, that's extra slide. All right, so if you have any questions, please reach out. Here's our email. We're also all over LinkedIn, so you can find us there. And here are some more links to not just my blog posts, but also this particular study down here from also mine is really well done on what do consumers really want from NFTs. Some great statistics in there that back up quite a few points that I went through today. Okay, so that's our overview I'll take some questions in a little bit, but I'm going to stop recording this now. And thank you so much. We're here for you if you need anything. Bye.